Now we're going to work on page 23, where we're going to find the surface area of a rectangular prism and a cylinder using formulas. So, the first figure we're going to use is the rectangular prism. And okay, here's our rectangular prism. Now, this is the dotted line. Okay, so this is 6, this is 4, and this is 5 inches. So, you first determine what your length is, what your width is, and what your height is. And it really doesn't matter what you pick for length, what you pick for width, and what you pick for height. It's all perspective. I'm going to call 5 the length, 6 the height, and 4 the width. But this will work even if you put different, if you let the length be 4, the width be 5, the height be 6, etc. Now, the formula for surface area of a rectangular prism, so this only works for a rectangular prism, is 2 times the length times the width plus 2 times the length times the height plus 2 times the width times the height. Okay, and now, using the formula, you just plug in your unknowns. So the length is 5, the width is 4. Here, the length is 5, the height is 6. And here, the width is 4, the height is 6. So surface area equals 2 times 5 is 10, times 4 is 40. 2 times 5 is 10, times 6 is 60. 2 times 4 is 8, times 6 is 48. That becomes 148 inches squared. So that's how you would do it using the formula. Now, the other way you would do it, and you can see where the formula comes from, is the front of this is 5 by 6. And there's a front and there's a back. And the front and the back are both 5 by 6. Then we have the top and the bottom. The top is 4 by 5 and the bottom is 4 by 5. Then we have side and side, and the side is 6 by 4. So we have 6 by 4 and 6 by 4, and that's side and side. So I'm doing 2 times 5 times 6, notice, 2 times 5 times 6. I'm doing 2 times 4 times 5, 2 times 4 times 5, and 2 times 4 times 6. And so whether you break it into the 6 faces and find the areas, or whether you use the formula, you're going to come out with the same answer. Okay, so that's surface area of a rectangular prism. Now we're going to do surface area of a cylinder. So this is the top of your cylinder. This is the bottom of your cylinder. Here are your sides. This particular cylinder has a radius of 4 and a height of 12 inches. Now, if you envision this as a soup can, and it had a label on, and I took a blade and I cut the label would fall out, and the label would end up being a rectangle. So that represents the side of the can. Now, this part that you would roll up, so this whole line, would equal the circumference of this circle. Okay? So that's where this formula comes from. So you have 2 circles and a rectangle. So if you find the circumference of the circle, which is 2 pi r, and you multiply it by the height of the can, which is 12, you'll get the area of the side part. To get the area of the 2 circles, it's pi r squared times 2. So the actual formula for surface area is 2 pi r times h, and that's the area of the rectangle, plus 2 pi r squared, because it's 2 times the top and the bottom. So we know that r is 4, and we know h is 12, and r squared would be 4 squared. So this ends up being 2 times pi, so 2 times 3.14, 4 times 12 is 48, plus 2 pi times 16. And if you multiply this all out, you get 401.92 inches squared. So again, these formulas make it easier, but it's also important to see where the formulas come from.